I totally thought I'd seen it all. But then this book shows up and I realized that the internet can still shock me.
So the Tori Woods situation is moving off of Threads and onto TikTok. I just want to let it be known here that this is not dark romance. This is glorifying PDF files. The things that you wrote in the name of an age gap romance, that was not an age gap romance.
This goes to everyone who's trying to justify what Tori Woods wrote in her book Daddy's Little Toy by saying that it is dark romance. It's not dark romance. It is justifying pedophilia.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lauren. I do ram content on my channel whenever I can. So, this video is gonna be a pretty dark content video again. I think similar to like how my Melanie Martinez video was, the one about the Crybaby era, but a little more darker, if you will, I think. I'm not sure. But, oh my god. This happened yesterday. I was made aware of this yesterday. So basically, in the morning for my 7 a.m. shift, I saw a TikTok on my For You page, basically talking about this conversation that's going on around BookTok and around an author who wrote a book that was very disturbing and disgusting, to say the least. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I do want to fully stress that if I have anyone who watches my content who is under the age of 18, please click off this video due to the nature of this video. There is going to be a content warning for this video, as this video will talk about pedophilia, grooming, and several dark topics. This video is meant to spread awareness about the issue and why it's a huge problem, and viewer discretion is also very much advised. And lastly, like always, please don't send any hate to anybody mentioned in this video. Purpose of the video is to talk about what's going on, give our opinions, and overall have a conversation in the comment section. So yeah, let's get started into the video. So like mentioned, I saw this yesterday and I debated about making a video about this, but ultimately I decided that it's best to bring awareness to issues like this. So I decided ultimately to talk about it in the best way that I can, that, you know, I can spread awareness about this and bring to light the issues regarding this, and kind of, I guess, an issue that BookTok kind of has, but not fully. I'll get into it as we continue. So I don't really want to say the name of the book, mainly because the title was pretty disturbing, so I'm just going to say the acronym, which was DLT. So basically on March 16th, this book got released and got quickly taken down due to the backlash the book got, which should tell you how problematic it was, to say the least. So the book's cover had a light pink background with the child's, like, you know, the child, like, play letter blocks, like those little letter blocks that children play with, making up the title of the book. It was all in pastels, which was very concerning because, you know, it has like the colors that attract children. So, you know, what if a child stumbled upon this book because, you know, possibly because of the colors and whatnot? So the synopsis is basically this. It features Lucy, who is the main female character, who has had a crush on her dad's best friend named Arthur for a long time. But mind you, she just turned 18. So concerning, right? This is very concerning. It gets worse when you read the synopsis of the male main character, Arthur, who is said dad's best friend and is also the love interest. Which I'm not even going to say love interest because this is a whole ass crime. So it literally says, "My juicy Lucy. She is finally 18. I wanted her longer than I can ever legally admit. I need to call someone. I need to talk to someone because what do you mean? What do you mean?" So it does get worse, actually. According to people online who got more information about the book, the male main character apparently became attracted to the female character when she was 3 years old. And what makes it worse is that whenever the certain scenes happen, the male character makes her portray a 3-year-old during those acts. So how does this get the green light, you may ask? So some people online were confused on whether or not this book was self-published or had a publishing company behind it. Allegedly, she had self-published the book and apparently had several people tell her to change parts of the book because of how concerning it was. But I guess she didn't listen because obviously, because of the backlash, it's very problematic to say the least. So what makes matters even worse is that the author who wrote this, her name is Tori Woods, who, by the way, that's a pen name of hers, and she allegedly has another pen name named Lauren Ashley, which, by the way, I'm ashamed of that because not only is my name Lauren, my original name, fun fact, guys, my original name I was going to be given instead of Lauren was going to be Ashley. So, ill, I know. So apparently that's also not her real name. I don't know her actual name, and I don't know if it would be considered doxing if I said her real legal name, but at the same time, I feel like for writing something like this, you know what I mean? I think your legal name should be dropped. I'm not for doxing, I'm gonna be very honest, I'm not for doxing, but it's not like you're leaking her address, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Also, what makes matters worse, because, it just keeps getting worse as I keep talking. Not only did she write this book, she is also a mother with 2 daughters who are allegedly under the age of 5 years old. And one of them supposedly is 3 years old, the same age that the male main character became attracted to the female main character. So what do you mean you are a mother who has young girls, children, and wrote something like this? I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. Now, another thing to note is that she had put a very disturbing thing in her dedicated page, which is like a page where authors will dedicate a book to somebody, like the book they wrote or whatever. So in version 1 of her dedication page, she said, "I will never look at my kids the same after writing this book." In version 2, she wrote, "I will never look at the Wiggles the same way again." So I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't anymore. I think CPS or whatever, I don't know what country she's from, whatever the version of CPS is, officers, the law, a watch list, I don't know, something. She needs to be put on something because that's crazy. I'm sorry. That is so disgusting. That's so crazy. Update, guys. So she actually got arrested a couple days ago. So People magazine published a story on the 24th of March, basically saying that Australian police have seized her copies of the book and they charged her with child A-word charges. To not only write a book like this, but to be a mother of 2 very young girls is so sickening to me, and I strongly believe she's a predator for that. And some of y'all might disagree with me and say that that's too strong of a word, but to write and allegedly self-publish a book knowing damn well you have 2 young daughters who are around the same age as the MC when the guy started liking her is so disgusting, and it somewhat or fully shows that you are okay with grooming. Because that's basically what that is. That book basically glamorized grooming. And I guess put this into perspective, if you were to have a kid, if you had a daughter or a kid in general, would you want your kid around somebody who wrote something like this? Because I sure as hell, if I had a daughter, I would not want her around someone like that. So I think that can answer a question, like if you think maybe using the term predator is too strong, if you had a child, would you be okay with your child being around someone like that? I also think this is a prime example of the notion that female predators do exist, because some people, like to say that women can't be predators. This is the perfect example of that. Because we all know that if a man were to write the same thing, he would have gotten so much pushback also. So that's why I'm happy that they're holding her accountable and they're basically booting her off the internet and booting her work off the internet, because that is not something that should be normalized. I'm sorry, but that is not something that should be normalized. So this, of course, brought in the conversation of how far can fiction go and how far should fiction go. And this is why I personally strongly believe that fiction does affect reality, at least in some cases. Because, some people wrote reviews on Amazon for this book and they liked the book, which is, concerning to say the least. Because I think anybody who enjoyed content like this should have their hard drive checked. I do think that somebody needs to go and knock on their door. I think somebody needs to be called. So her Instagram seems to have been taken down due to the hate, but I did find a screenshot of her statement that was on her Instagram. So she posted a defense, basically, if you will, defending herself and the book, and it reads the following. Hi everyone, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. DLT is definitely not promoting or inciting anything ever to do with CSA or pedophilia. What is being said is grossly disturbing. That is perfect timing, actually. DLT is definitely not promoting or inciting anything ever to do with CSA or pedophilia. What is being said is grossly disturbing and breaks my heart as well as makes me sick. DLT is fictional and meant to represent the DD/LG world. I understand where I went wrong, and that is why I had it removed from Amazon this morning. What happened between these characters, yes, started at a young age. No relations, if you will, happened while she was young. Yes, there were thoughts, and I can see how that is frowned upon. Nothing happened like that until she was of age. I know nothing I say is going to change or fix what I've written. There are, however, 3 innocent people who have been caught in the crossfire and need to stop. Georgia, Misha, and Aaliyah, along with their businesses. These ladies were under no impression that I was Lauren Ashley writing as Tori Woods. I reached out to these ladies to work with them as Tori and only as Tori. Georgia was my PA for Lauren Ashley and had only ever read half of my very first book and decided it wasn't for her. This is why she became my PA, because she was honest. G raised concerns with me about people mentioning her arc form. This was copied from a template, hence why they all look the same. Misha Taylor has read a couple of my books, but not this one in particular. Neither of them knew to the full extent what was in this book. Ashley edited this book. She asked me questions, and in my replies, I wasn't entirely truthful. She did not read over my final manuscript, which became the published, now unpublished version. I am so sorry that I wasn't who I said I was, and I'm so sorry for the content in my book, and I'm even more sorry that this was missed as a trigger warning. I will be removing myself from the book community. Now, apparently she got backlash because she had allegedly stole from another author, and that's why she changed her name from Lauren Ashley to Tori Woods. But that doesn't make it better. You know what I mean? Like, the content, you still wrote that content. It's so disgusting. And this is one thing I can commend BookTok for, because, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of BookTok. But the fact that BookTok was able to come together and get this woman out of here.
Okay, so scratch that. Majority of BookTok was happy that Lauren was kicked out of BookTok and got her book taken down. But there were some people in BookTok who were pretty upset about the censorship, which I feel like is kind of crazy given the fact that this was not meant to bring awareness to anything. This was romanticizing a topic that should not have been romanticized. So arguing that this is something that shouldn't have been censored is kind of crazy, if you ask me.
This goes to everyone who's trying to justify what Tori Woods wrote in her book Daddy's Little Toy by saying that it is dark romance. It's not dark romance. It is justifying pedophilia, and pedophilia is not a kink. Pedophilia is not a kink. You cannot write about a 29-year-old MMC being in love with a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old. What they do in this book with each other, I have not read this book and I will not read this book, but to sit there and get off on it, that is not normal, and you should seek help. I read dark romance. This is not dark romance. This is not okay. and the cover with the baby blocks on it. I know the person who designed this cover said that she did not know that this was about pedophilia, otherwise she would have never designed it. She thought it was just about infantilization. I personally would have already questioned it by then. The book, the way that it looks, Daddy's Little Toy, and reading the blurb.
Now, she had also claimed this book to be dark romance, which this is why I have issues with BookTok about how they classify dark romance, because they glamorize some stuff that really shouldn't be glamorized, like SA and grape and all that stuff. And yeah, no, but she claimed this to be dark romance, which I'm at least really happy that everyone shut it down very quickly and said this is not something that should be normalized. Because it's not. This should not be normalized whatsoever. I do think it was really important to speak about this and to bring awareness to the situation, because her argument about this being fictional, because that was her defense. She used this term that the book was fictional as her defense. And this is where I don't agree with the whole, like, you can just write about anything and it should be fine because it's fiction. I don't agree with that sentiment, because this is someone, a woman, who is a mother, who sat down and wrote the book with children, who she is exposed to children, and she still wrote this book. And you can argue, oh, it's fiction, it doesn't hurt anyone. The fact that you now know what goes on in her mind and she is exposed to children now makes you question so many things. And going back to my argument I had earlier, if you were a mother, if you were a father, if you had children, would you want your children around someone like this? That should be your answer. If your answer is no, that's your answer. And this is where you bring in, fiction does affect reality, because then you question the morality of people. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, so this was my video bringing awareness to all of this. This was a very disturbing thing that I stumbled upon that I do believe need to be talked about, and basically brought more awareness to the issue at hand and why. Oh, this brings in the larger conversation, of course, of fiction affects reality. And this is one of the prime examples and why I think that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And comment down below what else you guys want me to talk about in my next video. I need to find more lighthearted videos to do. I'm happy she got booted off the internet. I do think her children do need to be protected, though, because now I'm more concerned for her children than anything, to be honest. So, that's that. I really actually don't know how to end this video off, knowing we talked about something so dark. All I can say is, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time on my channel. Bye, guys.